Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. Welcome and bienvenidos to the 5th annual Yuma ABRC Forum. Before we get started, I'd like to take a minute to recognize our sponsors, Northern Arizona University, Regional Center for Border Health, and the Arizona Department of Health Services. Yes. Also, I'd like to take a minute to recognize an elected official and a few special guests joining us this morning. From Arizona Western College Governing Board Member, Ms. Maria Chaboya. Special guest joining us today, Mr. John Garcia, Program Director, ABRC. Dr. Robert Trotter, Regents Professor Emeritus of Anthropology, Northern Arizona University. Also joining us from our counterparts in Mexico, Dr. Daniel Alejandro Benítez Muñoz, Director de Distrito de Salud número 6, San Luis Río Colorado, Sonora. Director José Eduardo Valtierres Sotomayor, Director Hospital General, San Luis Río Colorado, Sonora. Licenciada Dolores Torres, subprocuradora de la Defensa del Menor, en representación de la primera dama y presidenta del DIF de San Luis Río Colorado, Sonora, Yolanda Orozco de González. Regional Center for Border Health, Governing Board Member, Mr. Jason Bradley. And this is a long one. Dr. Ángel Cuauhtémoc Rivas Armenta, coordinador de Esperanza del Programa de Adulto Mayor del Centro de Salud Urbano, y en representación de la doctora Leticia Sánchez Llamas, directora del Centro de Salud Urbano, San Luis Río Colorado, Sonora. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you all Ms. Amanda Aguirre, President and CEO and former State Senator, Regional Center for Border Health, and Dr. Michael J. Sabbath, Associate Vice President and CEO, Northern Arizona University, Yuma campus.
Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias, and thank you for joining us today. It seems like only yesterday that we started these forums, and thanks to ABRC, a big support of this incredible forums that takes every year. Even during COVID, if you remember, we had the virtual conference, and that was the one that we had the most attendance. Over 200 people attended that. We're hoping that next year we'll do a virtual, so a hybrid kind of a programs, because we got a lot of phone calls from people there wanted to join us today, and we didn't do that virtual or hybrid program. But they're saying we really want to know what Yuma is doing. We really want to know what the community is engaged in, and we want to know your best practices. And thanks to all of you that have joined us every year, this is what makes happen. Our community is moving forward. Our community continues working very hard in addressing all the social determinants of health to break the barriers and make sure that we have and close the gaps in health disparities, and we have a better equity in all the services that our families deserve. So from all of us, thank you for attending our forum once again. I know we're going to have a great discussion during the day, and we have great presentations during the day that you enjoy as well. And my good friend, Michael, also will say a few words and welcome. So welcome all of you again. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Amanda. Let me put a little structure around the meeting today. As Amanda indicated, I want to also welcome everyone and thank you for being here this morning to work with our fellow stakeholders in Yuma and our surrounding border communities, so we can address some of the most critical health inequities that impact the well-being of the people in our region. This is our 5th annual ABRC Yuma Forum, and our second opportunity to meet post-COVID in person, to resume our working groups that focus on several different areas, including workforce development, binational border health, community engagement, and clinical and community health research. It has always been our intention through these meetings and activities to provide a platform and context where we can examine social determinants of health in the region and commit to policies and actions that help us to reduce inequities and promote better health. It's also been our hope that working groups would meet throughout the year following the forums to continue with their efforts. So with this forum, we're hopeful that your efforts will resume after the forum. Working groups can reconvene today, re-energize, and we can begin to work together again to move our initiatives forward. But your participation and commitment is critical to the success of the forums, as is the support and sponsorship of the Arizona Department of Health Services, in particular, the Arizona Biomedical Research Center, the Regional Center for Border Health, and Northern Arizona University's Center for Health Equity Research. So with that in mind, once again, I welcome you this morning and thank you for your commitment to addressing health inequities in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sabbath and Ms. Amanda Aguirre for that welcome. Next, we have our first speakers, Dr. Robert Trotter, Regents Professor Emeritus of Anthropology, NAU CHER, and Mr. John Garcia, MBA, Program Director, ABRC.
Bienvenidos. Good morning. I'm delighted to be here. I'm Bob Trotter, and this forum and Yuma in particular has a very special place in my heart, and I feel very privileged to be here once again. I want to provide some context for the overall forum, and I hope I don't bore you with a little history on this. This conference web workshop coalition started about 7 to 8 years ago, and at that point in time, my colleague and friend, Dr. Julie Baldwin, and I came down and met with some incredibly dynamic community representatives and administration and faculty from NAU Yuma. And we had a very dynamic discussion about what could NAU bring to Yuma in terms of support of the very creative kinds of processes that were going on here. And we had a very serendipitous confluence of things where at that point in time, we received the first increment of our ABRC grant. At that point in time, it was the Arizona Biomedical Research Commission. It is now transformed into the Arizona Biomedical Research Center. And we came down to Yuma to explore possibilities for health equity research partnerships between our health research initiative in the Vice President's office at NAU and the developing program for the Center for Health Equity Research. And Dr. Baldwin and I met with faculty, administrators, and an incredible group of highly influential community representatives who were focused on making things happen. And I think that's one of the critical lessons from this whole process is the focus on not just talking, but making things happen that make a difference in the community. Our outreach was aimed at understanding how we could support all of the health equity research efforts, and we were consistently focused on research, especially in the beginning, that has evolved into research and action in the present. And I think that's a very important kind of thing. Dr. Baldwin is not able to be here, but I want to convey her warmest regards, and if she would be here if she could. So can we go to the first slide? Okay. The first part of the serendipity, and I wanted to express my personal thanks to the Arizona Biomedical Research Center. We got a serendipitous grant that allowed us to form these workshops and forums, both in Northern Arizona and here in Yuma, to flesh out the mission of the university and flesh out our coalitions with the communities. And so you see here, and I'm not gonna not steal here.
I'll sit down now.
But if John will have more details, but ABRC is a very interesting entity that can be creative, and they focus on both supporting health research and health research education. And so the money coming in from them was put to immediate use in terms of NAU being able to reach out to community and form coalitions. And the strongest coalition that we've ever formed is here in Yuma. And I want to thank folks. And you can see here that this is a web page that shows the research education function that we're going to get into. And down there, you'll see the 5th annual Yuma Forum. 5 years, fantastic. The forum, the ABRC workshop. And so that's part of where I wanted to frame this, is we have been given the resources to form partnerships, to form coalitions, and to look at what communities need that we can support and provide. All of this, the ABRC workshops and a lot of other activities are now focused in the Center for Health Equity Research. And I wanted to give a brief shout out to that. If you look at CHER's mission and values, the basic mission is to collaborate with communities to build foundations and environments that support health and well-being. And it's both statewide and international. And we're very proud of the process that we've begun. This shows a recent photograph of Flagstaff sunshine. And obviously it was summer because we aren't wearing parkas. I want just to show this web page because I think many of you could help us by going to the CHER web pages and looking at things that you might want to participate in. You see there that there's some initiatives. There's a Southwest Health Equity Research Collaborative, that's CHER, that provides resources and funding for both community outreach and ongoing research in terms of health equities research, both here on the border and in Northern Arizona. and you can see the other things. The current projects are very exciting, and I'll go over them. But here is the framing for what we're doing here today. Our strategy is in collaboration with communities and at the direction of communities, not at our direction. We want to diversify the health workforce in very key areas. We want to build very strong partnerships, and Yuma is an example of that. Community engagement around health, health equities, health needs. We're also geared to strengthen NAU's infrastructure, our ability to engage in active research. That's the CHER initiative. And most importantly, and this forum is a great example of that, we want to translate the results. We want to transmit, translate, and capture the results of our research back to communities where it can be used at a meaningful level rather than simply put in academic journals and put in esoteric kinds of materials. We want things to happen in the community. This is a tiny bit of history. We're from 2018, going back to kind of the initiation of the Yuma workshop. And it shows the activities back then that we were working on, lifestyle interventions, changes to the ethics, the common rule that we're governed by in terms of research ethics, achieving meaningful results. And then this, I was able to find some of our flyers from 2017 and 2018 with the first and the second forum. And I wanted to very briefly frame what we found. And this is the total history. You can see in 2017, we had the developing health research capacity in the Yuma border, SLRC Sonora border region, where we came together for the first time and talked about what do we need? What do we have? And all of this, all through the years, has been focused not on the negative, not on what are we missing. It's identified what we're missing, but it is focused incredibly strongly on what we have, what we're doing, and where we can go for the future that is beneficial to the community, beneficial to the people that we serve. So you can see the evolution of the workshops with the basically environmental scan, developing the capacity along the border, the second annual forum, improving health equity through collaborative community action, and then strategies and trends, the strategic priorities for developing health research capacity in Yuma, down to 2021, 2022. And these forums produced incredibly important policy papers. And this is an example. And Amanda, I don't remember if we talked about having copies of the policy papers available. I know at previous, there it is. Yes, thank you. We want to ask you oh, hello. That much better looking. I want to recommend that you look at the policy papers that we put out from each of the forums, because they have incredible opportunities for collaboration and incredible opportunities for moving things forward. And that constantly keeps coming back. But I want to emphasize the positive. So this is the format that started to evolve. And there were three principles: reducing health equities, fostering sustainable cross-sector collaboration, making health social investments that are going to achieve the highest gain. And I think that as a framing, that's an incredible philosophy. Each of the reports has important information that look at the drivers for health in the, not only in the Yuma region, but in Arizona in general and for the nation. And all of them are framed in terms of what goes into your health. And Amanda, thank you for that. That's a wonderful graphic that I stole and hope to give back. So these forums have looked at these three questions over and over again with incremental change through time. What strategies have we successfully implemented? Not looking at what is missing, but how are we dealing with what is missing and producing innovative kinds of things. And from my perspective, Yuma has become a center of innovation for dealing with health equity change. And I'm really glad to be a part of that. How do we sustain cross-sector collaboration? This forum and the overall effort here in Yuma has never been siloed. And that is incredibly unusual. Something that you don't encounter very often. It has always been a collaborative process, both collaboratively within Yuma and cross-border collaboration. But the idea is everybody has a space at the table and has a voice in this, and it's very important. And then what type of social investments? How do we prioritize that? Third point is, you know, there are so many issues that we have to deal with. How do we pick and choose the ones that are most effective and the ones that are most impactful? And this forum has been terrific in terms of identifying those areas that we can have an impact and then moving forward to that impact. The focus of the forum has been kind of four-part, sometimes four-part, sometimes three-part, and an evolving thing. But one of the important focuses is what's the research agenda for Yuma? You know, we're used to, in Arizona and other places, we're used to kind of a colonial model for research, with people swooping in and saying, I got an NIH grant, I got an NSF grant, I got this grant or that grant, I'm here to help you. And I may be here to help you about something you've never heard of and you're not interested in, or I may be here to help you with something that will be useful to you. but it is a frequently welcomed imposition, but it's an imposition. And what we're trying to do with the research agenda working group is do outreach in the other direction, saying, you guys at NAU, you guys at U of A, you guys at Mayo, Johns Hopkins, wherever, we welcome you, but here's what we'd like you to do instead of you telling us what you're going to do. And that's very important in this workshop today and going into the future. So we've been working to create members of a research council that can provide that kind of input and can interact with all of the entities like NAU that want to come and help. There's also a terrific need for community engagement, and things need to be bottom up rather than top down. So we've got an ongoing community engagement working group that is looking at how do we share data, how do we share cross-sectoral kinds of things, how do we integrate programs where there are many different facets to those programs, and how do we develop policy for Yuma, for the border, and for Arizona that is collaborative rather than, again, top down. The third thread is workforce development. I was just talking to Jason. Jason, thank you. About some of the new initiatives that are going on in terms of workforce development. And with Amanda, there is constant creative workforce development. Emma, you're involved in all of that. I have so many people to thank that I'm overwhelmed, but I'll truck along. And then the binational border health working group, Yuma is in a unique position. And one of the fascinating kinds of processes is, and you've had several incursions recently where people have come in from Washington and saying, we're here to help. And they just flat out, I've been living on borders for the last 50 years. And those folks from the central part of wherever, it's central Mexico, it's central US, it's central whatever, when they come to the border, they really truly don't understand. And we can help them terrifically with both our cross-border initiatives and with our understanding of what it is like to live in multiple worlds. It's not just two worlds, it's multiple worlds in a border situation. And that's an important part of the initiative as well. This is just a quick slide on CHER, on the Center for Health Research. One of the things I want to point out is we just got renewed on a grant for the Southwest Health Equity Research Collaborative. And I want to emphasize collaborative. We're not a center. We are a collaborating process where we now have funding for helping ourselves and other institutions with all sorts of research methodology, with evaluation technology, with things like that. So that's a paid political announcement. And here we are. This is today's event. And it comes from a terrific history And it has, we've just gone through graduation at NAU, and high school's graduating. And I could not resist saying, this is a commencement speech. And commencement, as you have heard 1,000 times, commencement is a beginning, not an end. Graduation is a beginning, not an end. And what I'm terrifically looking forward to is the next 5 years and the actions and the creativity and process. So I wanna thank you all for letting me participate. I'm excited to be here. And if you look in your agenda, there's a planning committee, and most of the members of that planning committee have been working on this whole process for years. And they have spent time, effort, and great creativity in putting it together. And I'd like to say thank you to every single one of them. There are some past people not on the list that I also want to do a shout out for. One is Emma Torres with the Campesinos Sin Fronteras. One of them is Jason Bradley. One of them is Victor Waddell, who is currently the director for ABRC and a whole bunch more. And John, I'm sure, and then Jennifer Botsford, who was early on a creative initiator for it. So, and everybody that, also Diana Gomez, because the public health department has been vital in all of this. And I'm going to miss people, and I'm going to literally miss Yuma. So this is terrific, and thank you for listening to me. And I hope this past success inspires you to take the next steps, talk to each other, and make the coalition work even better. So thank you.
Bob, thank you very much for your kind words this morning. I want to thank Amanda, the Honorable Amanda Aguirre, former senator, all our distinguished guests that are here today, Steve Palmer, who is Bob Trotter's mini-me. Bob, it sounded like you were trying to tell us that you were having your own commencement, if that's so, and you're going to go off into a new direction, you'll be missed. Your contributions to this forum and to research education in Arizona is going to be sorely missed. When I took on this position 2 years ago, Jennifer Botsford, who was formerly in this position, told me about this gentleman who had visions of health equity in our state that were before unheard of. And he was this leader, this impetus, not in telling people what to do, but in bringing people together and sharing this vision and providing the resources and the framework for us to go into a world that is more concerned about health equity, social determinants of health, community and collaboration. I've heard that word, those two words a lot the last few minutes, because it's about our ability to collaborate. It's our ability to have a community. Now, there's people here that are not just from Yuma, but they're from across the state. And you are here today as a community. And how do I put this? A couple of weeks ago, we had another conference, and it was sponsored by NAU, and it was talking about the need for children to have good health, good environment, good support in order for them to learn and flourish. And it's this whole community model that we are working under, that we now recognize how important it is for that. Well, in the world of public health, it is also vitally important that each person have the opportunity to receive the best possible health care so that they can flourish. Workforce development can do nothing if the workforce is ill or is unable to work because of illness, because they can't get the services that they need. Researchers talk about this a lot, that we create all these wonderful drugs and cures and things, but who can afford them? And until we can recognize that we have to come to the people, not have the people come to us, we're not going to succeed. And that's why this forum is so important, because we know the importance of going to the people and taking healthcare to the person's home, to the person's neighborhood, because often they can't come to a healthcare facility, or they may be too proud to admit that they're even ill, and they don't want to get the care because it would be embarrassing. And for us to be able to realize that and take action on it, then we can really begin to do some good work. Now, give you a little history of our organization. Back in 1984, we were the Arizona Biomedical Research Commission. Bob alluded to that. And that was established by statute by some forward-thinking legislators who saw the need for us to look into research for the wellness of Arizonans. Now, originally, it started out because we realized as a people that tobacco consumption was not good for us, that there were so many diseases related to smoking that something needed to be done. So they were heavily taxing cigarettes in order to discourage people from smoking. And so that money went into the state coffers, and they divided it up amongst all the possibilities of organizations that could use the money for the betterment of people, to create cures for the many diseases that are related to smoking. And then in 2011, well, At first in 1984, we had a commission. We had a board of directors and that model was great for many years. And then in 2011, government was trying to restructure itself. And a lot of these little commissions were swallowed up by organizations. And so the commission ended up being part of the Arizona Department of Health Services. And it flourished. We had all this wonderful money from the tobacco tax and also from lottery money that came in. And the tobacco tax was used for biomedical research. The lottery money was used for research education and for the public cord blood program. Then in 2011, we moved under ADHS. And our mission has never really changed in all this time: to identify and support innovative biomedical research to improve the health of all Arizonans, Then in 2017, they dissolved the commission and the name was changed to the Arizona Biomedical Center. I always thought it was interesting that it's CENTRE. It's a little flourish, but actually it takes away from this one thing. I think, Bob, you said this. We're not at the center. We're a center. In other words, we're a conduit of information, a conduit of research, a conduit of education. And that's why we exist, is to be a conduit. I told you about our funding. A little bit about our website. Bob showed a page from it, but very simple, azdhs.gov, biomedical. We have information on our research grants, research education, and our public cord blood program. All three of these kind of work in concert and support each other. Every year we give out grants of about, I would say in the neighborhood of $7 to $9 million to researchers for a 3-year period of time. And under research education, several $100,000 goes to ASU, U of A, NAU, and actually U of A gets Tucson and Phoenix. Funny thing happened since I went to the University of Arizona. It's always thought that the U of A was Tucson, ASU was Tempe, NAU was Flagstaff, and we did not cross boundaries. We had these rivalries, and then all of a sudden, people realized that NAU has a place in the educational environment for different things: forestry, environmental issues, healthcare issues. U of A, you have medical school, you have law school, and things like that. And ASU is sort of like this generalist organization. But you know what? What are we doing? We're isolating ourselves. Why not take the education to the people? Take these specialties to the people. So now we have a NAU campus in Yuma. And I thought, that's so different. We have U of A, ASU, NAU in the same biomedical area in Phoenix, all focused on different parts of the same solution. Tucson has its own campuses. There's satellite campuses all over the place. And what do? We support all of this by putting on these kinds of conferences and allowing people to come together and learn, bring their ideas together so that we can translate them into action. I really liked the conference a couple of weeks ago because it was a lot about activism. You know, it was a lot about, yeah, we know all this great stuff about child health and well-being and how they're going to flourish if we take care of them. But what are we going to do about it? How do we get the message to our policymakers? How do we get the message to those superintendents of schools and start making some good change? And that's what I like about this, is that we're here about change. We're here about changing the way we have done things over and over and over again, giving us the definition of insanity because we're expecting different results, and we're not. It's going to be the same thing. So we're trying to get out of that paradigm into a new one. This is a little picture of our annual report. This was the 2022 annual report, and that's available on the website. A little bit about our staff, as Bob mentioned, Victor Waddell is our executive director. He's also the director of the Arizona State Public Health Laboratory. Myself and Keelan McCool, who's in the back corner over there. She's our deputy director, and hope that I don't chase her off with all my wild visions and desires to do good things. But you know, we've got a good team. We have a finance manager and our senior business support officer, Vanessa, who's behind the scenes doing a lot of the day-to-day work. We have our three main programs. The public cord blood program, where we encourage mothers to donate the blood out of the umbilical cord after birth, so that can be used in research, but also it can be put on the national registry, like bone marrow is, so that people who are in need of transplants for stem cells can go to this registry and get a better source of easily translatable stem cells, that you don't have the same risk with bone marrow of needing an exact match. So that's one of our big focuses. The research grants I talked about and the research education is what we're doing today. Under research education, I told you we have ASU, U of A, Tucson and Phoenix, and NAU. Under the cord blood program, we have, actually this is a little outdated. We have the Tucson Medical Center, Dignity Health in Phoenix, St. Joseph's Chandler Regional, and we just added Mercy Gilbert and Valley Wise. So those are the hospitals, our partners, that help us in the collection of cord blood, and we'd like to continue to expand that into other hospitals so that we can have the most diverse bank of cord blood that represents our communities and can be used then, you know, for the particular racial and ethnic diseases that plague us from time to time. Let's see here. Oh, there's a blank. I must have to push this again. I put a thing in here for questions, but you know, I think that really what I want to do is just end on this note. My desire in life has always been to take care of my fellow man. And so I commit myself on a daily basis to doing everything that I can do that's going to better my neighbor in health and education and just general well-being. And I hope that today you can come away from this this conference with the same determination to help your fellow man, their health, their education, and their well-being. So let's have a great conference. I want to thank our visitors from Mexico. Bienvenidos. And todos aquí. Let's have a great conference. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Trotter and Mr. Garcia, for your presentations. Thank you. Next up, we have educational partnerships with Mexican universities. How do they benefit individuals, institutions, and the region? Please help me welcome Dr. Yamin Wang, Vice Provost for Global Affairs, Northern Arizona University.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having here. Ever since I received this invitation to speak for this conference from Dr. Palmer back in February, I have been looking forward to this opportunity every single day. There are a couple of reasons why I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. First of all, I'm not a healthcare professional. My academic background is in education. So in terms of translating research to practice in healthcare, health professions, and biomedical sciences, those are the areas I probably cannot speak to. And you certainly don't want me to speak to those areas. But I'm also very happy to see that in the title of the conference, we also have collaborative partnerships. I hope that international collaborations, which is something I do day in and day out, can share some idea, provide some ideas or even solutions for enhancing collaborative partnerships. The second reason that I have been really looking forward to this conference is because I'm relatively new to NAU and to Arizona, and today is actually my 11th month. However, during the past 11 months, we have been hearing so much about the initiatives of border health and border teacher preparation, and border teacher preparation is one of my areas too. So I have been looking forward to this opportunity to learning from all of you. The third reason that I'm really excited about this opportunity is for those of you who are familiar with NAU strategic roadmap, as you would know, that access, educational attainment, workforce development, sense of belonging, global local connections are really the keys of our new strategic roadmap. And we do all our international work through this lens. And I see all those keywords in this brochure, as well as a summary of last year's conference, which I did read on website last night. In fact, while I'm talking, I realized I also have the fourth reason. As you can see, my mathematics is also not that good either. So the last reason I'm still looking forward to this opportunity is because collaborating with universities in Mexico is really our highest priority in NAU in terms of regional collaborations, not only because NAU, Arizona is a border state, also because NAU is a Hispanic serving institution, and we really take that very seriously. The second month after I joined NAU, I went to Sedona, and I'm glad to see our colleagues from Sedona, and really renewed many of the collaborations we have had with Sedona and the surrounding states before COVID. And I'm happy to report that we have revitalized most of the collaborations and are establishing new ones. I can do a review of everything that NAU has been doing with Mexican universities and why they're important. However, I would like to frame today's conversation a little differently. I want to be more forward-looking, and I want to speak through the lens of problem solving. With that, I really want to start with a discussion. It seems this room setup is a little too formal for that, but I will start thinking about the areas that international collaborations with universities and institutions in Mexico can help you as individuals, your organizations, and the big initiatives of this forum and all the working forces. In my mind, although I think for international education and international collaborations, the world is a canvas and the sky is a limit. And that's not even figurative, right? And we can do a lot of things together. And seriously, the world is a canvas and the sky is a limit. So in my own mind, standing here, I can think of 4 areas that I think international collaborations can really contribute to. But when we have more discussions, we might think of new areas. So the first one is what I call educational attainment or degree-based mobility. So for example, if you or some of your employees, your partners, your collaborators who already have a degree in Mexico, and you also want a certificate or degree from one of the Arizona universities, and I really hope that university is NAU because I represent NAU. So what do we do? Right? And in different kinds of circumstances, what do? We certainly have a lot of experiences and suggestions in those. The second area would be workforce development, right? And if you want to collaborate with us to have some short-term experiential learning-based workshops for your staff members, your potential staff members, or the partners you have in Mexico, and what can we do in English language improvement, in customized programs, and the areas that we can work together. The third area, which I've been hearing a lot, which is finance. Who has the money to get a degree in the US, especially after I already have a degree in Mexico, right? What do we do? Who has the money? How do we get money? And the last area I have been thinking about is really immigration related, right? If you want to send some of your employees to your counterparts in Mexico or attract some talents through the borders, what do we do? I don't really have answers to all those questions, but I do have some suggestions. But before I start, I want to have a little bit of conversation and what are the other areas you can think of that you think international partnerships with institutions in Mexico can help? And or what are the concrete examples? What are the concrete issues you think we can resolve or we can contribute to through collaborative partnerships with institutions in Mexico? I don't know whether those microphones work or not, or anybody has teacher's voice as I do, so we can get a few answers. Okay, I know your group work and discussion only start this afternoon, but as international educators, we're very proactive, which means we do things ahead of time. So any idea in your mind or any goal you want to achieve through international collaborations?
Thanks for being here, Yuma. We worked on a number of relationships with Mexico in specific disciplines or areas of employment. Two that come to mind that I think are really important. One is getting teachers and teacher education, finding a way to make it easier for people to transition from Mexico, for example, to the US so that we can address our teacher shortage problems in the region. If we can get people from Mexico, and there's some great teacher education programs in Sonora, for example, but also over in Baja Norte. I think that we get professionals who will stay in the region and understand the culture and fit in very nicely. It's just difficult to address some of the political impediments and some of the licensing and also tuition for education again to address that. I'd also say that we have similar kinds of issues and needs in the nursing area and healthcare.
Great, thank you. Teacher preparation. Anything else?
Thank you. Through the years, we've been working bilaterally with our great friends from San Luis, Mexico, Rio Colorado, and Mexicali in Baja California. And that's to address a lot of the health and environmental issues through our Binational Council. And that's a forum that allows us to share best practices that we can implement on both sides of the border. And we have learned from our side, on the US side, on the Arizona side, a lot of the incredible educational tools that they have for public health education. And we have implemented some of their best practice in our side. You will hear this afternoon from one of my staff talk about Nuestros Niños, which is a campaign, door-to-door campaign, where we go to homes and we try to get the data and then all the needs from the families. And from that, we develop a public health agenda to help those families in, but it's a strategic census tract that they develop in Mexico, and we implement it on this side. But there's a lot of that would share. I think on the aspect of workforce development, from my perspective, I think that since we need such an incredible workforce in mental health and counseling, I think our partners in Mexico have an incredible institutions. They are teaching psychology, social work, and different other areas in the allied health professions that we can learn from that and also collaborate, like Mike said, on both sides of the border, having to share those incredible human resources in the border.
That's great. Thank you. I will take one more, and then I'm going back to the podium to start answering this question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Omar. I'll be translating for my director. He is Ricardo Trigo from San Luis, Mexico. We're really glad to be here, especially thank you for the invitation. My director says that we're very happy to be here, and we're looking to expand our connections. We are a city that is right in the border, so every problem from there to here, we can say is the same issues. He's looking to connect with the different associations that are reunited right here. And he's looking, he's always looking to improve our knowledge and our, our practice and be better every time. So he's looking to, in the team of looking for, well, just looking to collaborate and be better every day. We also look forward to have some training if there is there any opportunity for that? Especially we share the same issues of the border, and he's really happy to be here. Sorry.
That's great. Thank you. If I'm not too jet lagged, I will attempt to speak a few sentences of Spanish, but I'm a little intimidated now. Okay, now I'm going back to what I can really speak about, which is international collaborations. First of all, Dr. Sabeth's teacher preparation is a really good point. As you might have heard, and it's also recorded in the minutes of last year's conference, and you already has a collaboration with an organization that helps teachers from Mexico and other Latin American countries to get a G1 visa, which is a visiting scholars visa, to come to Arizona and teach in K-12 schools, especially in border regions. And I know our College of Education colleagues are really appreciative of this opportunity because, they speak Spanish and really helps to teach students with family language of Spanish. And we have been developing a lot of educational opportunities for them. And last year, College Education developed a certificate for the teachers who already have a bachelor's degree in Mexico. They are able to get this degree within a year, 2 semesters, while working in K-12 schools. The initiative we have been working on right now is to develop a short-term program. We had it before COVID, but this year we have expanded it significantly. We expect to have 70 70 to 80 teachers to join the 3-week experiential learning program in Flagstaff. What we do is we start with English language training via Zoom. And the teacher training materials were co-developed by the doctoral students in our linguistic department and the secondary education department. So it's not only English, it is English for a specific purpose. And we're able to deliver this virtual part almost for free, because it is also an opportunity for our linguistic students for curriculum development. And then students, these teachers, when they come to teach, they can come to Flagstaff campus for a 2 to 3 week experiential learning so that they can do curriculum development together with our students. And in college education, they can do some co-teaching in our K-12 schools before they really join the workforce development. We are working on a few other opportunities that embed a degree while they are on a G1 visa working in Arizona. We have a lot more to do, and one of the disadvantages of this initiative is we have to go through this organization to get a G1 visa for teachers for legal protection. However, I do see this is a kind of model that can be expanded and replicated in many other areas. I know health professions has its own challenges, but education too, right? And we have certification, and we have all kinds of licensing requirements. However, in some schools and with the special permission, we're able to place the teachers during the past 4 years as of now. So that's a really good question. That's something I actually noted down on my notebook to really talk about. Thank you for that question. And the second one about sustainable development and learning from each other. That's something we have been really intentional about. During the past 3 to 5 years, NAU has collaborated with Sedona and several universities in Sedona to get 100,000 America Strong grants, specifically in environmental education, sustainable development, so that we're able to bring 20 students from Unison to NAU campus to work with our NAU students to create solutions, what we call big ideas for the environmental issues, sustainable development at the border region. We're certainly trying to get more grants and launch more initiatives like this one. The last one happened the year before COVID. What I really treasure about this kind of initiatives is, as of today, these students are still working diligently with our professors, and some of them are even regent professors in forestry protection, wildfire control, and other areas that are really concerning the lives and well-being of people in both Sedona, Mexico, and Arizona. So those are the two ideas that I can share. Going back to the first one about the teacher education, teacher training. This year, the reason we're able to expand this program to 70 to 80 students, which is going to start in 40 days, is because we really see this kind of initiative as a two-way street, right? It's not only to train teachers in Mexico to speak English and to adapt to our school practices to come to teach in Arizona. We really want this to be a mutually beneficial kind of initiative. So long story short, we have been very intentional in the collaboration with Sedona. We talked with the Secretary of Education in Sedona for multiple times, and really try to understand the needs of Sedona too, and for the teachers who want to go back to teach in Sedona. And this year, this summer certificate is going to be co-signed by NAU and the Secretary of Education in Sedona. So that is what I see as true collaborations, right? We prepare talents, we develop capacity in both areas. learning programs is really one of the things that we have been doing for a long period of time. There are a few highlights that I want to speak to. Number one is if English language is a requirement, again, nowadays, one of the very, very few good things that COVID has left us is we're so adapted with this Zoom world, right? I know Zoom doesn't work everywhere, but Zoom works in many areas so that we can create some pre-English courses via Zoom. We can easily send instructors, English language instructors to somewhere in Mexico. We have been sending English language instructors to China, Vietnam, Puerto Rico. So there's no reason we can't send English language instructors to Mexico, right? And again, that's part of the training for our doctoral students in linguistics and they're doctoral students, but they do have a lot of teaching experiences ahead of time. So that part can be really low cost. Another thing we can do is to send our study abroad students abroad to work in a specific industry or specific sector to collaborate with partners in Mexico. We understand not all people, especially with cohort, can come to Arizona for a certain kind of training. So we're really thinking about how can we bring the teaching force to a specific locale, to a specific industry in Mexico. So that is all doable. And on top of that, I really want to speak about the experiential learning piece and how we can really connect, really see the connections of the industry across the borders, and in this sense, health professions, to create the experiential learning opportunities, of course, collaborating with departments. Again, I'm not a health professional person. And so to really build the industry need with experiential learning expertise of university and specialized and targeted English language training with a hybrid kind of delivery, some pre-training via Zoom, some on-site, or eventually students can probably come to Yuma or Flagstaff for a week or so, but the entire training can be very substantial. That's how we bring down the cost. We always do this kind of programs according to the need of the organization. I can give you a lot of examples, but I know the keynote is going to be delivered by our president. So you can probably just contact me, and we always ask for the needs of the partner organization. This morning, I was meeting with a partner in Ireland, and they have a specific need with experiential learning opportunities, so we can build the package that way. Again, this is a two-way street, right? It's both during the online Zoom period and when students come to our campus, we always match them with a student on campus at NAU so that we can have this kind of authentic day-to-day kind of cultural collaborations, and also to learn from each other, not only in the cultural areas, but also in terms of the best practices in the industry, right? And in terms of translating, not only in terms of the language, but also in terms of practices across the border, right? So those are certainly the areas that we can work on. And this summer is a little late, but I have to say we are working on putting together programs with the proposals we received yesterday. So, and in summer, if there is a week that students want to come to Yuma or Flagstaff, especially in Flagstaff, as you know, the housing price is super high. We do have contracts with university housing to really lower the price. Again, with universities' Hispanic serving goal and the collaborations with Mexican universities, our goal is really to make the program very substantial, embedded in industry needs, to really be mutually beneficial and working towards the workforce need. And with that goal, we can also make it really cost effective for our partners, because that's to serve the border region in the real sense. Okay, so I think I already touched up on a couple of points that I talked about, but I will go back to my first point about education-based about educational attainment and degree-based mobility. This is really more for individuals who are now currently in a university in Mexico or who have already received a degree at any level in Mexico, and how we can enable and empower individuals to also get Arizona degree if you choose to do so, if you think that is value adding, and of course we can think about which kind of combination that is more value adding. There are three major ways that we can do this. The first is we will sign agreement, exchange agreement, a mutual exchange agreement with a university in Mexico. As of today, we already have 21 exchange agreements with universities in Mexico. In that sense, students only pay tuition of their home institution. So you don't need to pay Arizona tuition. And so you send X number of students to us, and we send X number of students to you, and students pay their home institution's tuition. We can also do it creatively. For example, you send us 3 students and only paying your tuition, not paying us tuition. If we can't send that many students, we can do short-term programs. We can send short-term study abroad students to you. That's really the most cost-effective way. The second is what we call a dual degree program. Again, if you have any intention in collaborating with NAU in any academic program, we can sign agreement. We'll start with course evaluation to see what courses NAU can accept, and the students can only come in to take the additional courses that we need to get a NAU degree. Okay, here's my biggest secret. I wanted to learn about the secret literally for over 10 years. When I started in the field of international education, we always have, in other institutions, we always have partners come in and say, can you accept all, can you waive all your general education credits? Can you accept all our general education credits? I was like, no, because Higher Learning Commission won't accredit our university if I don't do course-to-course articulation. 10 years ago, people said, you can do it, haha, Northern Arizona can do it. I was like, how come our Northern Arizona can do it? And I asked many people at Northern Arizona for 10 years, nobody told me. So I'm not going to tell anybody either. 10 years later, when I saw this job ad, I thought, maybe it's worth a shot for me to work at NAU to see how they're doing it and still keep their accreditation. So here's how we're doing it. I need to lower my voice. For Higher Learning Committee, if you give the Arizona degree, your American degree as a second degree, so the degree from a Mexican university is a first degree, and Arizona NAU degree is a second degree, we can waive all general education requirements. And that second degree can be 2 days later than the first degree, which means when we do the dual degree articulations, we can waive all the general education criteria as long as the student already has a degree from Mexican universities. As of today, as far as I know, as long as you guys don't share the secret, NAU is the only university who can pull this off. So that significantly shortens the time that students need to spend in American institution, but also to get both degrees, and also to significantly lower the cost. So that's our second secret. But if you say, I already have a degree and all your course articulations no longer work for me, then the solution for you would be what we call school of record. We can work with your institution, the institution you graduated from, and articulate the courses you have taken. And for the courses that NAU can accept, you will get NAU credits because your university will be recognized as a school of record for NAU. You won't get NAU degrees through this way, but you can get the equivalent courses articulated by NAU if you want to eventually get to an MD or eventually get a different kind of degree. You just need to take the additional courses. So those are the 3 secrets. The mutual exchange, transfer / second degree, and school record. I already talked about the short-term programs that we can develop in conjunction with any organization here. And in this category, really the sky is the limit. We can really create the program according to your need, according to the need of your industry. And we can start the English language portion way ahead of the program starting date. So students are more prepared. And for one specific program we're doing this summer, we started to partner the students from the partner institution with our own students a semester ahead. So once they come to campus, even for a shorter period of time, they already have significant engagements with our students in the same discipline. And finance. I already talked about a few initiatives that we joined force with Sedona and universities in Mexico for getting grants. As of today, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard that Sedona is pushing out some grant initiatives on sustainable development. We are already looking for the courses that can be counted towards that kind of initiative, and hopefully we can launch it ASAP. I only have 3 minutes. I'm so happy I only have 3 minutes because the last category I want to talk about is immigration, which is a topic I'm least qualified for because I'm not a lawyer. However, from the experiences we have with college education, we know that there are multiple ways we can do this, and especially with Sedona, there are some kind of visa treaty. And by the way, for students from Sedona who come to one of the 3 Arizona universities to study, there's also a treaty that students can pay in-state tuition. So you don't need to pay expensive international tuition. And for immigration, aside from regular work visa, there are ways to get special treaty. The visas based on the special treaty or the G1 visas with some kind of educational collaboration and components. I'm happy to have individual conversations on that. I will end now, and I will stay after this presentation. I will also leave my business cards here. If you have any ideas or initiatives, we are more than happy to collaborate. Thank you.
Okay, and next we will direct our attention to the screen here, and it is my pleasure to welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Jose Luis Cruz Rivera, President, Northern Arizona University. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. And good morning, everyone. It's really exciting to be again with you this year, albeit via Zoom. I had a privilege, but just a few days ago, of celebrating with our AWC NAU Yuma students at commencement. And it is always one of the highlights of the year, not only commencement week, but also the ceremony at Yuma, where the entire community comes out to celebrate our graduates. And it is, in fact, these culminating moments around commencement that are so infinitely rewarding for all of us in higher education, because it really brings home the reality that we do through our work, help shape a better future for generations by empowering individuals to live lives of purpose and embark on careers of consequence. And it does also bring home the importance and impact of what we do at NAU and the fact that we transform these lives precisely through education. I know that everyone here today is committed to transforming lives by engaging in meaningful research related to health disparities, and that is one of the distinctive points of excellence that characterizes the work of NAU and the Yuma community. And so we are very gratified and proud to be working with you to advance these important issues. I want to thank Dr. Trotter and the important work taking place at NAU through CHER, as that is particularly important work that helps us really advance our mission. So what I thought I would do in the next several minutes, and then provide some time for questions if there are any, is to talk a little bit about what we at NAU have been doing this past year to elevate excellence. And the reality is we've had an incredible year in driving access, attainment, and creating post-secondary value. In my installation speech last September, I talked about the new NAU. The new NAU, I said at the time, knows that in order to elevate excellence and eradicate health disparities, we must expand access to opportunity. That for students and communities to reach higher, we must create the conditions that will fully develop their capacity to aspire and provide them with the information, tools, skills, and supports they need to realize their dreams. I also said that the new NAU is committed to educating, supporting, and empowering students from all backgrounds, identities, and lived experiences to reach their full potential and contribute to a more just, equitable, inclusive, prosperous, and sustainable future. And I am happy to say today that we are well on our way. Last fall, we welcomed the largest, most accomplished, most diverse first-year full-time class in our history, and we're going to break that record this fall. And today, NAU students, faculty, and staff are really experiencing a strong sense of place and confidence that our university can engage in the work that is necessary to fulfill our vision to be the nation's preeminent engine of opportunity through our broadening participation into our programs, vehicle of economic mobility, by designing our academic programs and support services so that our students are positioned not only well for career, but also for life, and as a driver of social impact through not only the work that we do, through efforts such as CHER and our work with communities to eradicate health disparities, but also through the work that our students, our graduates will do, 70% of whom stay in Arizona, to ensure that they are putting their time, talent, and energy towards advancing those goals. As Bill Gates, one of NAU's newest alumni, as an honorary doctorate recipient, noted in his recent blog post, quote, "There is something remarkable happening here at Northern Arizona University." Truly, NAU is redefining the value of a college degree and is the emerging leader in delivering equitable post-secondary value to students across the nation. The attention of Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation, longtime champions of educational access and equity, speaks to how we are delivering on our vision. And the core of that work is taking place in Yuma. And it is facilitated by this campus excellence, our partnership with the local community, the relationship with Arizona Western College, and linkages in our healthcare-focused relationships as highlighted in today's forum. What I'd like to do now is pivot quickly to give you some concrete manifestations of what I've just shared with you in a more conceptual way as to the direction we're headed and the things that we have accomplished. In the last year alone, we have launched the Arizona Attainment Alliance, A++, a first-of-its-kind partnership with the state's 10 community college districts and the Arizona Commerce Authority to improve educational attainment and drive economic mobility in Arizona. We're seeing early success with the launch of the Universal Admissions Program and other initiatives around data to promote student success and delivering equitable post-secondary value in every corner of our state. Let me just say a little bit more about what this Universal Admissions Program looks like. Basically, what it means is that moving forward, starting this fall cycle, NAU will not send letters of rejection to any applicant that seeks to advance their higher education at Northern Arizona University. Instead, if a student is not quite ready to start their studies at NAU, they will receive an invitation, a pre-admission to a community college closest to them, with a guarantee that once they are ready, they will be admitted via transfer to NAU without any additional work on their part. They will not have to reapply. So in essence, we're admitting them for the future. It's a vote of confidence on their ability to grow and the ability of our community college partners to help them in that endeavor. So we're very excited about this program. We also expanded our Access to Excellence program to the members of the state's 22 federally recognized tribes. And we received a transformational $5 million grant from the Mellon Foundation, which was matched by our NAU Foundation with another $5 million for a total of $10 million that will help us implement the 7th Generation Signature Initiative that will help us deepen our commitment to Indigenous peoples. Now, as you may remember from last year, the Access to Excellence program is basically a guarantee that students, in this case, from the 22 federally recognized tribes, or students that come from households with income under $65,000 a year, will receive a tuition-free education at NAU. On the Hispanic serving institution front, following the strong HSI path of the NAU Yuma campus, NAU Flagstaff is proud to say that we received the federal designation as an HSI for this year. So it's the second year in a row that we have been able to maintain this designation, and we have several initiatives in play right now that will help us ensure that we are not an HSI just because of the percentage of students who are Hispanic that we enroll, but more importantly, because how well we serve them. And one important step in this direction was the recent launch of NAU en Español, which is the state's first fully Spanish language university website that speaks to not only our students, but their parents about the opportunities they have here at NAU with information around admissions, enrollment, degree programs, tuition, financial aid, campus life, etc. We're also proud that this year we were able to make significant progress in our commitment to healthcare across the state. A $6.4 million grant from the state is giving us the ability to expand our accelerated nursing programs, including offering full tuition scholarships to 240 students earning their nursing degrees to address Arizona's critical health care shortage. We just introduced a new compressed bachelor's in nursing program at campuses throughout the state, including in Yuma, that will allow students with some college experience to complete their nursing credentials within 16 months. This program will launch in the fall. And we are committed to ensuring that we accelerate and expand beyond this our ability to meet the nursing workforce needs of our state and our rural and tribal communities. There's a lot more going on. I'll just mention one more that's a very recent announcement. We are very committed to ensuring that the students that do start at community colleges, going back to our A++ Arizona Attainment Alliance Universal Admissions Program that I mentioned earlier, that the students that start at community colleges get the support they need so that they can succeed and then transfer as they intend to NAU. And so in collaboration with the Helios Foundation, we recently announced the Arizona College Excellence Initiative. It is the result of a $3.8 million grant from Helios, matched by a $3.8 million grant from the Northern Arizona University Foundation for a total of $7.6 million. This funding will allow us to strengthen our counseling and advising services across several rural campuses in the state, including Arizona Western College, and will designate $2.2 million in direct scholarships for students at the community college. So we are working with our funding partners to ensure that the students, even before they come to NAU, having just expressed an interest to coming to NAU, that NAU will be able to provide them scholarship support so that they can meet their goals. This program will start in spring 2024, and we're very excited about what it will accomplish, in part because it is an outgrowth of a program that we have already piloted effectively with AWC. It was called the YES program, funded by Helios. And based on what we learned there, we're now taking it to 8 other community colleges across the state. So now I wanted to leave some time for possible questions if there are any. So I'll stop there and just close by thanking all of you in recognition for the work you do every day to address health disparities and to improve lives and create equitable opportunities for our underserved communities. The work you do is so important to our communities, to our state, and of course, is a model for what the country should be doing more of. So thank you very much. And I truly appreciate the opportunity to address you today.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz Rivera. If anybody has any questions, they'd like to step up. Okay, seeing as there are no questions, please join me again in thanking Dr. Jose Luis Cruz Rivera, President of Northern Arizona University, for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Thank you very much and have a most productive day today. Take care.
We are a little bit ahead of schedule. So with that, I will just remind everybody that there are bios on the table, a little bit of just general housekeeping. The binational breakout session will be in this room. The workforce session will be in the Colorado River room, which is to my left. And then the research and community session will be in the Anza room. So up next, we have Michelle Krutzber Martinez, Border Health Liaison, Arizona Department of Health Services. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. I'm relatively new to my position, started in, I think it's February, but you know, the months kind of mushed together. So any opportunity I get to meet with border partners and continue collaboration and relationships, I just jump on it. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity to meet you all today. I am also going to be presenting on behalf of my supervisor, Simin Kasim, who was not able to come today. So the first part of my presentation will be on her materials. So forgive me if I'm not the expert, but I will try and answer questions to the best of my ability and take anything back to her that I cannot answer. And then I'm going to kind of go through border health at the Department of Health, since there's been lots of changes, and I'll kind of go through that and let you guys know what we've been up to. And I don't know who's doing the slides, but next slide. Oh, I'm doing the slide. Okay, thank you. That's great, actually. Okay, so I'm going to start with health equity at the Department of Health Services, and we have it ingrained now into our ADHS values and our strategic map. The vision is health and wellness for all Arizonans at the Department of Health. And our mission is to promote, protect, and improve the health and wellness of individuals and communities in Arizona. Those are our values: integrity, collaboration, accountability, excellence, dedicated, and equity focused. These are newer values to the Department of Health. We workshop them as a whole department. They ask for everyone's input, and those are our current and new values. So as you'll notice within our strategic plan, health equity is a cross-cutting strategy. So in other words, it should be implemented or applied to all areas of our work, regardless of the division, program, or focus. So we're really trying to implement health equity within all of our departments, our bureaus, and kind of revamp this idea and make sure that everyone is aligned with our goals for health equity. Okay, so ADHS formed the Office of Health Equity in 2022, and it is situated in the Office of the Director. We have 4 strategic priorities. And then Simin linked our website, so you can visit and learn all about our programs and what we're doing and see some of our health equity resources. But we have these 4 goals, and it's to build internal capacity to operationalize health equity, improve engagement within communities impacted by health disparities. So one example of that is we are doing on County Connect Roadshow, where we have been visiting with all the 15 counties and tribes when possible. So we've actually completed all but one of our border counties. We still have to go to Pima County, but it's been really helpful to engage with the people who live in these communities and know their communities best. And we also, one other goal is to implement significant statewide health equity initiatives, and also, of course, use data to improve health equity, because we all need data to get things done. Okay, I'm going to talk about AZ-HIP and the background. So it sets a statewide health priorities based on health challenges from the state health assessment. And it's a 5-year community and data-driven action plan. And our action plans are written for 2 years, and it's a multi-sector approach with social determinants of health. And we really, like I mentioned, are looking for community engagement and input. So it articulates the most important health issues to be addressed to improve outcomes over the course of the next 5 years, but it is written for a 2-year period so we can adopt new focus areas for 2024 and 2025. So we want to be nimble and flexible with environments, which we know shift so rapidly. Did it go again? Uh-oh, okay, there, oh, no. Okay, so rather than taking a disease-specific, oh no. Okay, I'm not going to touch this. Rather than taking a disease-specific approach, this iteration of the AZ-HIP takes a broader look at priority areas, and you will notice that health equity is the underarching priority area, and each of the other areas hold a health equity lens in their action plans. Also, in light of COVID, we added a 5th priority, which is the pandemic recovery and resiliency priority to address the impacts of COVID, to capture and institutionalize the learning and partnerships that resulted from the response, and plan for an equitable recovery and readiness for what comes next. Okay, so for the focus for the health equity strategy is how health equity can be operationalized in communities, organizations, and systems, rather than focusing on specific disparities in a given population. Even within the border region, we know it shifts so rapidly depending on what community you're in. So that's why we really want to go into the communities and see what disparities are actually in there. They honestly are so different within each community, what we've discovered from our County Connect visits. So the 3 major activities here are strategy 1, strengthening data infrastructure, which includes assessing data needs and how to use and share data, creating a health equity data framework. Strategy 2 is about strategically engaging stakeholders, including diverse and non-traditional stakeholders in meaningful ways. And strategy 3 is to broadly focus on policy, systems, and environmental change, and lift up actions related to supporting, empowering communities to drive policy changes, removing barriers to navigating systems, and promoting equity lens in how neighborhoods and communities grow and thrive. Okay, so that was the stuff I'm not as familiar with, but happy to take back any questions. It's definitely newer to the department, so newer to me, although we all have heard the term equity for years now. But we're really excited about the future of the Department of Health with that equity lens now built in. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Arizona's Border Health Program. And for those of you who have been around, you may have noticed the different shifts in border health at the Department of Health Services. It used to be an office based in Tucson, Arizona, the Border Health Office, but that dissolved when the previous person left, and we had some gaps in between, and now it's a border health liaison position. Oh, that's a little better. Within the Office of Health Equity. So that's why I'm able to speak on the last part as well. And then we have a border infectious disease surveillance program that's been around for quite some time. It's an ELC, epidemiology and laboratory capacity grant funded position from CDC. And we're really excited because I brought our new BIDS epi here. So hopefully you guys get a chance to meet her, Giselle Quintana. And then we also have a border infectious disease data quality specialist for our binational data. And she's also here, Alexa Komatsu. So please meet them later because I want everyone to know that border health is alive and well despite the pandemic and all the changes we've been through. Okay. So just a little bit about the Border Health Liaison position. So I serve as the main point of contact and link to Sonora's Secretaría de Salud, as well as other border stakeholders in Arizona. I'm also a delegate to the Health and Human Services U.S.-Mexico Border Health Commission, along with Emma. So I'm just so thankful for Emma and all her wisdom since she's been a commissioner for quite some time. And then also a delegate to the Arizona-Mexico Commission. So some examples of that liaison work, when the Department of Health, our vector program has an annual vector conference. So when they wanted a speaker from Sonora to come talk about their dengue situation in 2022, I coordinated that with Sonora and coordinated their travel and helped them come out here to speak and share their experience with dengue, because we all know that diseases don't respect borders. And on the other hand, when Sonora was looking for a speaker from Arizona to speak on cocci genomics, I was able to get someone actually from NAU to speak for a workshop that Sonora was having. So if there's anything that you all ever need or think and you don't know who to reach out to, I'm a resource, hopefully, for that, or I can reach out to someone else who could help. But that's kind of the sort of thing that I work on, as well as just building relationships and partners. A little bit more about the U.S.-Mexico Border Health Commission. So it's within the Office of Global Affairs, and the mission of the United States-Mexico Border Health Commission is to provide international leadership to improve health and quality of life along the U.S.-Mexico border. The commission has the unique opportunity to bring together the two countries and their border states to address border health challenges by providing the necessary leadership to develop coordinated and binational actions that can improve the health and quality of life of all border residents. And then the Arizona-Mexico Commission is a public and private 501 nonprofit organization that works to improve the economic prosperity and quality of life in Arizona through binational collaborations with Mexico. I'm sure a lot of you know that it's also undergoing some changes, and we are excited that it's going to be revamped and up and running again soon. A little bit more about some of the commission work. In 2022, both sides of the Border Health Commission met and came up with priority areas, which include communicable diseases, climate change, public health preparedness for emergencies and disasters, mental health, chronic diseases, addictions and substance abuse, maternal health, mobile populations, healthy environment, and violence. And we hope to get together, finalize the Healthy Border 2030 report in Mexico City and collaborate more with our Mexican counterparts. So now I'm going to talk about BIDS, which is really my expertise because before this position, I was the BIDS epidemiologist. So BIDS stands for Border Infectious Disease Surveillance, and it's a systematic collection and interpretation of public health related data, helping to inform best public health practices for infectious diseases along the U.S.-Mexico border, promotes cross-border public health communication through partnerships with local, state, federal, academic, and international partners. It was created in 1999 with the CDC and the Mexican Secretaría de Salud and border health officials, and they collaborated to begin the development of the program. And the BIDS program is an ongoing collaboration between the U.S. and Mexico that supports international disease preparedness by conducting surveillance of infectious diseases along the border. And the Arizona BIDS program is housed in infectious disease Bureau of Infectious Disease Surveillance within the Department of Health, and they work closely with me in the Office of Health Equity. And some examples of BIDS activities, we're trying to pilot arboviral sentinel surveillance project along the border, and we have a border or binational dashboard that's available to the public, and it's a lot of just surveillance of binational cases that come through MedSys, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But it does include all 4 states within the border states within the United States. And you can see the little stars on the map are the BIDS sites where each BIDS officer is located. You can see ours is in Phoenix, but we do travel a lot to the border. And you can see New Mexico has 1 site, Texas has 3, and California has 2. And then we have a monthly meeting with our counterparts in each Mexican border state as well, where we each side of the border will give a presentation, and then we'll do state updates. So those are other examples of the collaboration we do, and that's called the Binational Technical Work Group. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more of what a binational case is in reference to infectious diseases. So a binational case refers to an individual with a confirmed or probable case of a notifiable infectious disease and travel to Mexico, or I'm going to include Canada because that's the technical definition, but we don't actually have a working relationship with Canada like we do with Sonora or Mexico. So that's just for your knowledge, but we're just going to focus primarily on Mexico. So it can include travel to Mexico during the exposure or incubation period, a resident of Mexico exposed by a resident of Mexico, has contacts in or from Mexico, or exposed to a suspected product from Mexico. So there's also other situations that may require binational notification or collaboration with our counterparts, but those are the main, that's the main disease definition, or sorry, case definition for a binational case. And so why do we care about doing surveillance on binational cases? Well, we know that United States and Mexico, if there's an emerging infectious disease, this presents a public health threat and a binational problem, not just a national one. And I think COVID was a great example of this, and that went beyond binational to obviously pandemic. So we really do need to be aware of this, especially due to cross-border travel, importation and exportation of goods, zoonotic migratory routes. For anyone who wasn't aware, Maricopa County had 2 locally acquired dengue cases last year. And so we're always kind of looking at what Sonora's seeing. On their side, they had a huge dengue year last year. So, you know, like I mentioned before, they don't respect borders. So we always want to have this open line of communication with Sonora, and what they see might affect what we see and vice versa. And then climate changes, which affects the latter. So we have some general principles of binational. And the first one is the need to share information so we can understand the risks. The second one is the timely sharing of information. So this should occur in a time frame which allows the other country to respond to the specific health need in as timely a manner as possible, which maximizes the potential for effective public health action to prevent avoidable disease, disability, and mortality. So third one is the quality of information. So the value of the epidemiologic information being shared depends on its accuracy and completeness. So we really try and get a complete picture. But of course, as we know, we can only get as much as the patient or case wants to give us. So that doesn't always work to our advantage. Communication pathways, of course, this ensures a rapid delivery to the appropriate agency. and a high potential for action based on the information. And also joint action to respond to an epidemiologic event. And the National Public Health Agency of the country in which the study will take place has jurisdiction and will assume the coordinating role. And then it's important that we understand the differences between health systems. So a big part of my job and the BID's epidemiologist's job is to really understand Mexico's health system. And I'm open for more education on that one too, because it's hard for me to understand the US health system. So that's a big part in our job as well. You know, they're more centralized, we're decentralized, especially in Arizona. So it's definitely something to take into account when we're working with them, how the communication pathways change with that. You know, we have to go to our state counterparts first before we reach out to our local counterparts and stuff like that. So it's really helpful for us to understand the differences and the Mexican health system. So again, there's a quick sheet that anyone has, sent it my way. And then, of course, one of the more important ones is the respect for the sovereignty and laws of each country. This goes along with a lot of the other principles, but we aren't trying to step on anyone's toes, and we need to give jurisdiction to the correct person or to the correct entity. Okay, so here's some just BID success stories in the past, and those are actually all public. Well, the long ones are all publications, so you can, you know, type them into Google and read about them. But there has been a lot of binational coordination in the past and a lot of border work. So we just hope to continue that at the Department of Health. And we also do tuberculosis meet and greets for repatriated ICE detainees that are going back to Mexico that require additional treatment. So we'll actually do a physical handoff at the border and coordinate that whole repatriation for TB treatment. And then the binational data dashboard, which I believe I will show. So that's our binational data dashboard. There's a link on the PowerPoint, but you can also Google binational Arizona Department of Health Services and it will come up. And it just breaks down all our binational cases, which is based on that case definition that I shared earlier. And there's an epi curve, some demographics. And one thing to note about, well, it's divided between border counties and non-border counties, just for privacy reasons, since some of the numbers get pretty small. So we have to suppress some data. But also one thing to note that this does include the Canada binational cases. And I'm rethinking if I want to include that in this dashboard because I think it does skew the information a bit. We actually get a lot of Canadian binational cases due to our snowbird population and that sort of thing. So it's interesting to know, but also I think I want it to be more of a Mexico, Arizona, or Mexico, Sonora binational dashboard. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking at it, it does include Canada, and that might kind of skew some of the data. And that might change in the future. Might have to separate that out. Okay, next I want to talk a little bit about the communication we have with Sonora, which I kind of touched on a bit, but this is really unique to Arizona, and I love sharing this part. Because in 2007 and 2008, Sonora public health officials were onboarded and trained onto our surveillance system, which is MedSys. And that's huge because we're the only border state that actually has Sonora health officials on our surveillance system. So we can real-time share data or cases that belong to them with the click of a button. So every year we try and do a Sonora MedSys training where we onboard new MedSys users onto MedSys, or we train or retrain current MedSys users. And we went to Hermosillo in February. Again, my months are mushing together, but we were able to onboard 6 new Sonora health officials onto MedSys. And this just makes data sharing so much easier and cleaner. Everything's already encrypted and secure. So that's just really unique to Arizona, and we hope to continue to foster that moving forward and get more on MedSys, hopefully. And then MedSys also has a few different modules, but most reportable infectious diseases are on MedSys. STIs and HIV still are on their separate surveillance systems. But we are hoping to integrate them onto MedSys. I want to say soon, but things could take a year or so. But that would be really helpful as well, because I have seen STIs on the rise, especially in the border region. So we definitely get a lot of binational STI cases, and it would be helpful to have them on MedSys as well. So I'm not going to touch on the other stuff, but WhatsApp is huge, and I don't really have to mention that too much, but that is our main form of communication with Sonora, is WhatsApp. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about MedSys. And so that's kind of what a MedSys case would look like. And you could see the first red square is the binational variable. And as soon as that is selected as Mexico or Canada, then the subsequent binational data section will appear. And then we have our other binational variables below. And then, so our local jurisdictions will fill that section out with residency, travel information, food exposure, treatment information, contacts, and anything else that they can find about the case. And then our binational data quality specialist will go through each case and decide whether it is a true binational case or not. So that's the second red square, is the count as a binational case. And then that's either yes, no. And I did add a maybe because there's just some that are hard to decipher given the data that we're given. But I just don't want to completely count them out. But they wouldn't be included in the dashboard as a yes. Okay. And that's just the big picture. Okay. We also have a section in MedSys where we can switch jurisdictions. And this is kind of what I was talking about before, about sharing and transferring cases to Sonora in real time. It's just a click of the button and then they can have their case. As we know, with the cross-border mobility and people living and working on either side, or just wanting to seek healthcare on this side, we do get a good amount of Sonora residents that are getting tested in Arizona. So we want to make sure we give those to Sonora since it's their jurisdiction. So that's just an easy click of a button. Then we also have a secure messaging tab in MedSys, which that's where I would send like the STI cases, like a PDF version, since they might not be on MedSys as its own case. And that way I know it's securely sent to Sonora. And I don't have to worry about email encryption or anything like that. So some examples of desired details we want for binational cases is like city of travel, travel dates, purpose, where they stayed, other contacts, hospitals or doctors seen. I don't know if you all are aware about the fungal meningitis situation going on, but that's kind of an example of where we would want to know, oh, you had a procedure done, where was it? That way, if there's any public health intervention or follow-up, we can know whether or not it's severe. And then for like foodborne diseases, specific restaurant names and stuff like that. And this is just kind of some algorithms of our communication pathways. You can see it gets kind of complicated. So I just wanted to like kind of show you what that looks like. I can only speak to my Sonora counterparts. I can't go and speak to Baja California, but that's why we have our BIDS program and collaborations throughout the 4 states. So then I can go to my California counterpart and then they can, check in with their counterparts in Baja. And then outside of the border states, then we would have to get CDC, DGMQ involved, which that would just complicate things a little. But so we like it when it's just Arizona, Sonora, but that doesn't always happen. So we have these communication protocols. And that is all I have for you all. Probably give you back a little time. And please, if you have any questions for me or want to connect, that's my email. It's a mouthful. So you can also reach me at border@azdhs.gov if that's easier to write down. But happy to take any questions and happy to be here and meet you all in person. That's it.
So we are good on time. We're going to now take a little 10-minute break. So if we want to reconvene back in this room at about 11 o'clock, and we can go into our next sessions. Thank you. If we'd like to start making our way to our sessions, just a reminder, the binational will be in this room to my right. The workforce session will be in the Colorado River room to my left. And then the research and community session will be in the Anza room to the right. We want to start making our way to our sessions. Thank you. The sessions are now starting. If you'd like to please join your group. Las sesiones están por comenzar. Por favor, si nos gusta acompañar en cualquier de sus sesiones. We're going to continue with our program here. Our next panel will be community outreach, community health outreach workers, promotores de salud. And it's my pleasure to present to you all Miss Laura Aviles, Program Coordinator, Yuma County Public Health Services District. Mrs. Emma Torres, Executive Director, Campesinos Sin Frontera. And Mr. Gustavo Alvarez, Director of Public Health and Patient Engagement, Regional Center for Border Health, and the San Luis Walking Clinic.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. So it's a tough time to present because after lunch is like, you're probably just thinking about nap time. So I will try to speak loud and clear so to keep you awake and, speak about a favorite subject of mine, and it's about the community health workers model. And I called it the health equity model of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, because that's what we aimed at although we didn't know what we were aiming very much at when we started this, that's what we now know that it has been the purpose of the model. So I'm gonna see if I can move this. So what I decided to do was, everybody knows now about community health workers. Everybody probably has heard about promotores de salud, but I wanted to give you a little bit of history about how it started and why it was started here in Arizona. Yuma County was the county where the promotora model started, and that was in the 1980s. So some of you may have heard about it, some may not. Still, it's been almost 40 years since we started the program, and some people have not heard about it. But in the 1980s, the reason why this program started was because of the social and economic disparities, the poor wages for farm workers, the working conditions, the limited access to healthcare, limited state and federal programs. And that those were some of the disparities back then, but aren't they very similar to what we hear today? So when we started the project, one of the things I want us to remember is that the community health worker model is a very old model. It's not new. In South America, in China, and other countries had been used the model in different ways. So the community health worker model, the promotora model, actually was a model an anthropologist from the University of Arizona saw in Latin America and brought to Yuma because it reflected the same population. And then he replicated the program here, and that's how we started that project. You see the group in there? Those were the original community health workers of Yuma County. We recruited 5. The day of the training, they each brought their comadre, so they became 10 of them, not 5. And you see me there, I was young, and beautiful back then, I guess. So, no, so community knows best, the star of the Promotora Community Health Worker motto, and everything has been discussed now about going back to the community. And yes, originally, you know, the model focused on this recruiting farm worker women from the farm worker community to address the issues of farm worker women that were pregnant or had just recently had a baby, because they were the natural helpers and leaders. They were trusted members of their community. We knew that they turned to elders for advice, or the comadronas. They built a strong relationships among each other, support and advocate for each other, and are resourceful and natural fundraiser experts on vaquitas, cundinas, and rifas. That's how we make the money to meet some of the needs of our community that the system would not address. Those were our first babies that we had. They're probably close to 48 years old now. I don't know if they're my moms. I don't. They would see this picture and their babies, but these were our first flyer that we developed. It was reading it again, and it had different typos. But again, that's how we started. Very, very, very grassroots model. And we know that community promotoras know their community firsthand. And as a matter of fact, the community health worker, like I mentioned, that we recruited first were had to be from the community they serve. They had to be farm worker women that knew their community and represented their community economically, educationally, culturally, at all levels, would really know how to communicate with the community. So it wasn't necessarily required that they were that they had all these degrees, or not even that they speak English, or that they have a GED. At that time, it was women from the community that knew the community and wanted to help each other. And definitely what we started doing was addressing the social determinants of health that now everybody talks about as well. And one of the things that also, that it was a very key focus of us, it was that the promotoras are transformational leaders, not transactional leaders. They're not individuals that are just there to tell you what the law says and what this. They will actually fight the laws, and they will advocate against, if it's not culturally sensitive to their population, they would argue, they will stand up and they will advocate against them. And so that's why I call them transformational leaders and not transactional leaders. And when we talk about social determinants of health, and everybody talks about meeting them where they are, it's easy to say meet them where they are, but it's not easy to do, because people, us, actually the providers, don't want to step out of our comfort zone in serving them, because they're not hard to reach. You know where they are, they'll be there waiting for you and appreciating the service that you take to them. So when people talk about hard to reach populations, we are the hard to reach. They're not. Because if you want to truly serve them, you will go to where they are. So if it's at midnight, at 1 a.m., in this particular case, where you see the promotores going, I said early morning, no matter the weather, and they are culturally and linguistically appropriate. They have the trust. They can approach them at any time. One time I was told, why are you crazy? Why do you go at that early time in the morning? Are you afraid? Well, we're not afraid because we're part of the population. We grew up being part of that population. So you're not afraid of your own. So promotores reach them at their work sites, wherever they're at. And some people say, but they don't let you in. They don't let you because it's private land, they will not let you in. They will, if they know that the reason why you're there is because you care about the health of the workforce and you're trying to help them have a healthy workforce. And COVID-19 did not stop them. When a lot of people retrieved or shelter in place like we were told to do, we couldn't because the people needed us. They were knocking on the doors. We had our office closed for a week, and people would be looking through the windows and everything. I said, we can't, not be here. So we learned to fight COVID and to protect ourselves so we could be with the people. And then the promotores are very creative because they know their community, they know how to get to them. During Mother's Day, they figure out a way to take a gift to the ladies that were isolated. We would be getting their calls about how, isolated they were, how, afraid they were because not even their family could visit them. We organized ourselves and we figured out a way to form an army against this COVID. We were not just like, well, we can't do this because, we talked and we decided, can we go and challenge this virus? Are you willing to take? I said, none of you are forced to do it, or you will not lose your employment if you don't feel safe, but this is the type of work that we're here to do. So we hear about promotores being frontline workers, boots on the ground, and fearless leaders serving their community. But again, what does that mean right now that we have an opportunity to have this model recognized, and there's even funding and legislation that passed to support them and everything? I think that my concern is that people forget about the reason of why you become a promotor. Why do you decide to serve your community? Are you willing to be sacrificing to a certain point? Are you willing to, like in this case, fear being infected with a virus to still go to where the workers are and get them the information, because they were not getting the information. They were not being tested. They didn't know about even the virus that was happening. So how do you go about, reaching out, and you create ways that promotoras, they were not, you remember there was not toilet paper, but there was not hand sanitizing, there was no protective equipment for them. So the promotoras created some and figure out a way to take it to them. And that's what a community health worker is consistently assessing the needs of their community and figuring out creative ways of responding to them. Not waiting on the government to come and serve them, not waiting on even an organization or an institution to come and serve them. They figure out the way, how can they help their own family, their own neighbors? That's the transformational leaders that they are. And here we see them also, at the shops early in the morning, providing health screenings, looking at, ways to serve them in whatever ways, and embracing the call for service. So again, as we have this opportunity to have this program, this model, let's not forget the type of service or the type of persons that should be called a promotora or a community health worker. Not just anybody can be a community health worker, because it requires a lot of dedication. It requires a lot of natural abilities and empathy. You work not because you have the resources, but you have the compassion. And right now that we're talking about, again, about licensing and providing all these opportunities for organizations to employ community health workers. As an organization or as a community health worker, always think about that why you're doing this work. Because a lot of people do things because of the funding, because now there's reimbursement. And when you survey your community, you don't serve it because of the funding, or you don't serve it because of the money that there is. If you truly are dedicated and an advocate and a true, have a true call for service, that is the last thing that you think of. So during COVID, like I said, the promotoras became very creative. Especially the seniors that we work with were very isolated, very depressed, with a lot of anxiety, crying and saying, what do I do? You know, come on, let's continue meeting, because we have support groups on a weekly basis in Yuma, Somerton, and San Luis. And we need to meet. And then they said, no, we have to protect you. They were told that we should not get to you because we cannot expose you. So they thought about developing coloring books or coloring, and then would take them to them so they could be working on something, creative art or something. And then they will call them and go and pick up their art, and then talk to them on the phone about different topics. But they were there with them, even in distance, trying to help them learn how to work their texting or their Zoom, or trying to educate them in that need that they knew they were having at that moment. Not because they had a curriculum that told them that they needed to do that, not because somebody was paying them to do that. They were thinking on their own, what do they need? How can we help them? And among the different things, this is one of the pictures that I really like to see. You know, I didn't put the coloring book that they developed. One of the promotoras developed with positive messaging. But this is another one of the costalitos they were making, you know, that the seniors of the groups will be doing. But again, good things take time, and this model has taken time to be, I would say, to be recognized to the point that is recognized now, because I never thought I would hear when we started this model. Like I said, one time, this is something I will never forget. One time, Dr. Rado invited us to go in and meet with a group of pediatricians because we were promoting breastfeeding, and they kicked us out of the room because we were not doctors, and we were told that we knew nothing, that we were a group of gossiping women that were just thinking that we knew about healthcare. And that's like 38 years ago. That's when those babies that you saw in there, that we were really thinking and knew that we were making a difference in the lives of the people we were serving. So I leave you with that. I have only 2 minutes left, I think, but like 4. But so I thought that just some of the pictures will give you more of that context of what I wanted to tell you. But again, the important thing here is that now, as we have come 38 years later into this model that is now popular, and I can say I knew it before it was famous, that to be careful and not bring just anybody to be a community health worker, and trust that they will know or be compassionate and will be caring and will be protective and will be an advocate for the people they serve, because not everybody has those traits. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Okay, so before I start my presentation, and since this segment it's all about promotoras and the amazing work that they do in our communities, I would like to recognize our promotoras. So promotoras, family care coordinators, if you can stand up. All promotoras. Maria, you're promotora too. And I see promotoras here. That goes for everyone. Felicitas. All right. So we have promotoras in the house, which is very, very important. All right, so let me go ahead and start my presentation. My name is Gustavo Alvarez. I'm the Director of Public Health and Patient Engagement for Regional Center for Border Health. So let's talk about the motto of the Promotora de Salud, community health outreach worker. So the motto is an effective community outreach, a strategy for increasing access to healthcare and addressing social determinants of health and health equity. So as a community-based integrated center patient care clinic, so we cover all areas in the spectrum of health. So we have the community-based center as a medical home. So our promotoras, family care coordinators, we cover all bases within the spectrum. So we do have the case management, which they assess the patients when it comes to their health, medical appointments, and so on. They provide health education, disease prevention and control. So in other words, our promotoras, they work with our patients in groups or one-on-one. They provide that education, that foundation for patients to get to know how to keep them, themselves, in a healthy ways, in a healthy base. Also, as I mentioned, we do the patient appointment schedule with the PCP. It is very important. And the amazing thing about our patients, let me go back. Our promotoras are like rock stars in our clinics. Our patients, they get, they know them, and they put their trust in our promotoras. And I always say that promotoras are the bridge between the PCP and the patient. So they're the trusted team members within our communities, and that's fabulous. That's amazing. Okay, so here we have an image which is the family behavioral integrated services, which is the intake coordination of care. So we have the primary and the family behavioral integrated services. We are an integrated system. We have an integrated system where our promotoras, family care coordinators, no matter if they're BH or primary care, they're there to help the patient. Doesn't matter if it's behavioral health, they all get there. So they conduct health education. We do have the paramedic community-based program, which I'll be showing you some pictures right now, and I'll be talking more about this. So we do have the family care coordinator, the home visits. So they visit our patients. We do have our chronic care management program. So we have a total of 35 promotoras, family care coordinators, which they're engaged with our patients' health, and it's amazing that they're there to be an asset to their health. Also, we talk about case management. We do clinical coordination, assessments, and we follow as promotoras, they follow the patient and their health, and they make sure that they're doing pretty good. No matter if it's access applications, WACOG, community services, they're there. They help the patient, and they go through until the patient gets the help. All right, so we have 19 clinics in our system network, in our organization. So we have clinics in Yuma, La Paz, and Mojave County. So in Salis, Arizona, we have our wonderful medical mall, spectacular building. So we're growing. We're growing as a clinic, and the community is thriving as well, and it's amazing. All right, so we have clinics in Mojave County, La Paz, Yuma County, Gilman. That'll be our new clinic coming soon. And so, as mentioned, we're thriving, and we're growing. And along with growth, we need the manpower and the help, and we have that. All right, so here we have the medical mall, and we have the mobile units. So we have 4 mobile units which serve as mobile clinics. Okay, so they're certified, in the state of Arizona to serve as clinics. So this mobile units, we can take them around the state of Arizona in underserved populations. So this, These are to reach rural distressed communities and to increase access to affordable healthcare and promoting vaccine confidence. So when I see the mobile units, it's amazing where, how many families we can reach, how many communities we can reach. And I'll be touching base on some of the things that we have and how our promotoras, family care coordinators, work along with our PCPs and medical providers and RNs and medical team to assess and to help our communities. What's the RCBH SLWAC medical home for patient care? What is this? Okay, what's the patient-centered medical home? A medical home is defined as primary care that is accessible, continuous, comprehensive, family-centered, coordinator, compassionate, and culturally effective. So we do provide the convenient access, use of mobile units. So we're able to reach underserved, distressed populations. We're able to get to meet those patients and those families in their communities. So we have that convenient access, efficient care. Just by getting to those families and their population, it's a must. There's communities, small communities that do not get the services from other parts of the state, and the great thing is that we're able to reach those families, schools, organizations, and so on. Quality care. Quality care is very important to us as an organization, and our promotoras, and I mean, what can I say about them? They're amazing, and they meet that criteria. And the cost-effective care. We do have, we offer services with access. Our promotoras, they fill applications for patients, they help them out. We also have Capacmex, which is our medical discount network, which we help our patients and with sliding fees and so on. So medical home benefits all. In San Luis, we enhance quality of care and customer service within our clinics. Improved effectiveness and efficiency of care. It is very important for us to provide that care to those patients and for them to leave our clinics happy, and it is very important. Member loyalty and growth. We're growing, and our patients, I mean, amazing. They come to us and they receive their medical care and they live happy. All right. Optimal health and quality of care, and better access to care and convenience, and enhanced satisfaction. Very important. What is a promotora? A community health outreach worker. So as I mentioned before, the promotora de salud is the link between the primary care, medical home, and individual as a family, and community to improve access to a well-defined continuum of culturally competent and linguistically appropriate care from prevention to primary care. As mentioned, we see our promotoras as the bridge between the family and the patient. As you know, most of our patients within our population are Spanish speaking. So promotoras, by being culturally sensitive and having that language and that linguistically appropriate, patients, they come to us and they rely on them for their care as well with their PCP, which is an amazing thing. So within the promotora model, we also talk about the Yuma Community Safety Network, which these are organizations and that we work with to have the safety network. And our promotoras work closely with and our PCPs. So this team and this network, it's an effective one. Why? Because we're here to help our patients. We're here to provide for our patients. And what's so better than having organizations work together for a positive outcome? Okay, some of the organizations that we have, Yuma County Health Department, Sunset Yuma Regional Medical Center, Lions Club, the prescription program, and so on. And there's more. So here, as you see in the circle, the promotoras, the family care coordinators, it encompasses all of these organizations, which it brings great things to our community. All right, this is my favorite one. Health education, disease prevention. So our promotoras, they're certified on all this set of trainings and learning diabetes. So we do have the national certification for diabetes, the DPP, Prevent-T2. And I'm one of those who teach the sessions for the diabetes prevention. And it's, to me, as a director of public health, but also I say health educator as well. You know, I work pretty good with the promotoras, and to me, educating the patients, it's amazing. Especially with with the diabetes program, where if a patient has a 11% A1C level and they come down, it's, to me, when they come back and say, you know, I was able to bring my A1C down, it's amazing. So it shows me that I'm doing something positive for my community, and I want to keep doing that. And I want to instill, and our promoters know that, and they're the same as me. We have the same mentality where we want to help and we want to build healthy communities. All right, so we also have Your Heart, Your Life, which is the NHLIB certification, national certification, hypertension. You know that we see many patients within our community with diabetes and hypertension, and these trainings are amazing because it prepares our promotoras, our family care coordinators, to really assess the patient, to help the patient, and to, if they're not able to make that help, or of course they talk to the PCP and they make things happen in a positive way. All right. And we see one of our promotoras here helping a patient. Prevention is key. Never forget about that. Prevention is key. Okay, so here we have the community outreach medical home. Also, okay, so we do offer trainings, asthma, COPD, the youth mental first aid, and so on. All right, so we have the community outreach efforts. We do have a program called Nuestros Niños, Nuestra Comunidad. And in this program, we identify families in need of social health services, provide referrals, and assist families in accessing those services in South Yuma County and the border area. We inform families about the various resources that are available through our agency as well in our community. We also identify children under the age of 5 with incomplete immunization schedules. So this community, we do a census where we do census around the city of San Luis and Somerton, looking for families whose children have not received vaccines. And that's how we come to them, and they can come to us to get their vaccinations. All right, so this is the geostatic basic area. This is what we use to conduct census, and you see some images of our promotoras and some of our Nuestros Niños members, where they knock on doors and they get information based on if they receive their vaccinations or any services that they might need, and we provide those. All right, so we also have the paramedic program we're in partnership with the city of San Luis and Somerton to provide paramedic programs. And we do have promotoras that assist, that go with the paramedics to conduct a medication reconciliation, make sure, to provide that education to the patient about taking their medications on time, vitals, and so on. So this becomes an interprofessional approach to community-based paramedic to address social determinants of health. All right, so we have a number of a graph of our CCM program, the chronic care management. So in 2020, we reached 23,000 members who they received their monthly calls to make sure that they're doing good and so on. If we look at 2023, the number is low, but we're anticipating to double or triple that number to get to the right amount of patients. Also, we do have the farmers market on wheels, which our promotoras run this. We see Christina. Christina, raise your hand. So she is managing the market, farmers market. This farmers market goes all over Somerton and San Luis, but it's not just providing those fruits and vegetables, but it's also educating the families or whoever goes to our farmers market, educating on diabetes prevention, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and so on. And also we see Christina giving information on nutrition. All right, the College of Health Careers, which we have in Somerton, Arizona. This is for all population, but our promotoras, all of our promotoras, I'm happy to say that they have their certifications as direct care workers, which we offer that, and they become part of our college by attending sessions and becoming direct care workers. So we have all of these careers within our College of Health Careers, which we grow our own. Also, we offer the SNAP program. So our promotoras, they fill applications for patients and so on. And so they can apply for SNAP, access, and so on. We also offer the GED, basic computer skills, and customer service training. All right, so we have the direct care worker certification for promotoras and community health workers. So we see some of the things that they do, that they're doing, or that they do in the sessions. All right, so we have a total of 35 promotores de salud, our Regional Center for Border Health, San Luis Walking Clinic, who have applied for the ADHS Community Health Workers License. And we see a license here. All right, so during COVID-19, we see some of the promotoras attending farm workers, giving out information about COVID-19 prevention and so on. And on this picture, we see on the canopies when we were vaccinating and conducting testing for COVID-19. Okay, so we also have a school integrated here at two schools, O.C. Johnson and Gila Vista Middle School, junior high school, but we also reach Gilman Unified School District. So we offer trainings on autism, selected trainings on health education and behavioral health to schools across Yuma County, La Paz, and Mojave County. And these are the schools that we service. In Yuma County, Gadsden School District, Somerton School District, La Paz County, and Mojave County. Okay, so we also have a strong collaboration with WACOG, Gilman Unified, and the Mojave County in conducting these services. Okay, so we also help with the migrant program at the Gadsden School District, where we take our mobile units. So we see Maria, myself, and Malena conducting services and helping patients and giving information, doing that outreach that is well needed in our communities. So with the help of Ms. Amanda Aguirre and in partnership with the Yuma Vision Center, we were able to provide those services for migrant students at Gadsden School District. Okay, so COVID-19 pandemic, year to date, we were able to test 398,984, more than 250,000 patients serviced and tested. With vaccinations, 355, and we reached La Paz County with 42,000, Mojave County 983, and total vaccines year to date 94,628. Amazing work being done by Regional Center. All right, So here concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Y'all haven't fallen asleep yet, have you? All right. So my name is Laura. I work at Yuma County Public Health Service District, and I am a program coordinator there. And just a little bit about me, I have been with the health district 20 years, and for those last the previous 18 years, I've been a health educator, which falls under community health worker. As you all know, the community health worker, it's the umbrella term for health educator, promotoras de salud, community health representatives, just a large number of different titles. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys all about our Connect project. And this is a project that we received funding for about 3 years, well, actually in 2021. And if you don't mind, if you guys see my glasses fall off, don't mind, okay? Because they're broken on one side. All right, so it's a pleasure to be here and talking about community outreach, CHW Promotoras models. And as I had mentioned, at the health department, we have promotoras, health educators. That's what we call them, health educators, health advisors. And they've been ongoing since 1984 when the Health Start program started. So really quickly, this Connect funding is totally focused on CHWs. The title of Connect, it stands for CHWs, Outreach, Networking, Engagement, Collaboration, and Training. So I know it's a mouthful, it's a lot of information, but that's pretty much what Connect stands for. And in Spanish, it's Conectate. So this is a grant funding that we received by CDC 2109 Community Health Workers for COVID Response and Resilient Communities. And let me go ahead and get this. I'm going to go forward with my presentation. Where do I point it, Gustavo? But where, right here? Okay, there we go. So the objectives of today's presentation is I want to give you guys all just an overview of the Connect project and our partners. And I want to also discuss the unique methods conducted by the CHWs to complete our program goals. And then I'm just going to share some early results of the project and briefly talk about the CHW successes we've had so far. So the goals of the project is to be able to serve our community, which you all know it's 69% of residents here in Yuma County are Hispanic, Latino origin, and agriculture. And so a lot of them are farm workers. And the intent of this project, it was to connect, to expand the reach of CHWs to target and serve Hispanic, Latino communities facing adverse COVID-19 outcomes. So here are our project partners on this project, this grant funding. It's the University of Arizona, the ABRC, and also Campesinos Sin Fronteras. So with ABRC, they're the ones that help us with our reporting and also with the development of a community clinical model. And Campesinos, we work really closely with them in the development of our CHW coalition, which I'll be talking about. Community outreach, campaign efforts, including senior support groups that they have, and radio PSAs and social media campaigns. So under this grant funding, we had 3 strategies. Okay, so our goals are to train, deploy, and engage. Under train, it was really important to identify and collaborate with community-wide efforts to ensure comprehensive acquisition of relevant knowledge, roles, and skills by CHWs, so they are prepared to successfully engage with the existing state and/or our local public health-led actions to manage COVID-19. Not only that, but we also wanted them to, we wanted to align training opportunities for the CHWs with the primary action of state and our local public health-led efforts to address underlying conditions or environmentals that increase the risk and severity of COVID-19 infections among our populations. So with Deploy, we integrated CHWs into organizations and care teams to support the public health response to COVID-19. And then also we integrated them into public health emergency preparedness and vaccine deployment planning, which also included the planning and the coordination of immunization and public health preparedness programs, existing vaccine infrastructure and vaccine providers in the community to increase access to new and existing vaccination programs. And then for engagement, it was really important for us to coordinate and promote opportunities such as messaging, education within communities and clinical linkage settings to facilitate the engagement in CHWs. And as you can see right here on the slide, we're sharing with you all the same information, but this is all been completed already. So CHWs, they have been trained in the core competency skills that are needed to be able to go out and do their job effectively. They've been trained in health conditions and care coordination, state and community-led public health actions and interventions, and also in referral database because they do also a case management. And for Deploy, forgive me, I got to put my glasses on again. All right, so I'll talk a little bit more about that as I move along because I can't really see it, but so I'll go ahead and give you more information as I move along. So for train, okay, as I had mentioned before, CHWs have been trained in core competencies. They've also applied for the voluntary certification through Arizona Department of Health Services. So we have about 10 internal CHWs, and a few of them already have gone through the process, and and more are going through it. And then they've also been trained in chronic disease prevention and health promotion, organized efforts, and skills to lead and contribute to dissemination efforts. So let's see. Yep. So they've also participated in trainings to increase the CHW's understanding of the roles and competencies, and which has allowed them to engage their fullest potential to provide better support and improve social determinants of health for priority populations. Now, this is one that's really close to my heart about the CHW Coalition. So Yuma County has developed the first CHW Coalition, and the really great thing about this is that we have approximately 9 organizations participating, and I know a few of those organizations are here, such as Campesinos Sin Fronteras, Regional Center for Border Health. We got First Thing First. Arizona Complete's here also. So we got quite a few organizations. We have COCOPA, who's also joined our coalition, and Comité de Bienestar. They're also actively participating. We have about 25 active members at this time, and we're opening it up to anybody else who's interested in joining our coalition. And collectively, the CHW coalition members, they have conducted over 150 events and reaching our community members. So we come together in these meetings and we do networking, sharing successes and challenges. We also share best practices, which has helped them to strengthen, it's helped to strengthen our coalition. And also all the networking and the resource sharing, it also helps with our visibility within the community. So we're all out there, we're all doing, as my previous presenters had mentioned, reaching our target population, which is our Hispanic, Latino, farm workers population. And through this coalition, we're developing an action plan. It includes serving as a mentorship hub to prepare the CHWs for that voluntary certification, as we discussed, and support advancements and integration of the CHW workforce into the health, public health, and social service sectors within Yuma County. So this is some of the different individuals that participate. This is our mission and vision statements. Unite and strengthen the leadership of the CHWs through collaboration, skill building, and sharing resources. and best practices to elevate the health and well-being for Yuma County communities, and then also strengthen the network of unified CHWs in Yuma County and recognize CHWs as leaders and professionals in their field. So great job, Coalition. And once again, if anybody interested in joining, just let us know, okay? We're open to membership. So as I had mentioned, deploy, which forgive me if I couldn't quite read it on the other slide, but CHWs, they've been integrated in public health emergency preparedness and immunization programs. They have participated in coordinating COVID-19 vaccine testing and PPP distribution. And this is done along with the Yuma County Public Health Nursing and Emergency Preparedness Divisions. And then alongside with our partners, CHWs conducted outreach, provided mitigation education, vaccine education, and dissemination resources among the local farm worker community. And then they're connecting with the local community members through outreach, education during community events, health fairs, and delivery of workshops. Not only that, but they've also developed project-specific messaging materials to disseminate, promote through social media. So they distribute calendars of events, group health educational activities, and provided updated COVID-19 materials through all of the different local media outlets. It's including radio stations, social media, newspapers, press releases, health segments, and television interviews. And as you can see here, they've reached over 200,000 individuals, and this is every month. So you know they're getting the messages out there every month, because that's roughly about our population, about 230,000 individuals. So they're really out there making that difference via social media. And engage. So CHWs, they coordinate group educational activities with priority populations, engage in continued dialogue to build community trust and provide information about public health programs. They build individual and community capacity to improve health outcomes, increasing health, everybody's, the community's knowledge and self-sufficiency through a range of activities that they do. They create materials using health literacy toolkit to increase the priority population's health knowledge and self-sufficiency to help individuals obtain, process, and understand the information provided. So that's really important because, you know, health literacy is really important because a lot of times we can give them the information. If they don't understand it, then it pretty much doesn't help them a whole lot. So you want them to be able to understand the information that's being provided to them. So the core of the Connectate program is building on a community clinical linkage model to connect community members to resources. And so this is something that we've worked really hard on with our CHWs. So they sat in a lot of different trainings for this, okay? In August of 2022, with the assistance of our ABRC evaluation team, we launched the Connectate referral program. So what they do, the CHWs, they engage with individuals who have been, once again, infected by COVID-19 experiences such as job loss, family loss, home displacement, and then they connect them to the community support service and education, also for chronic underlying health conditions. So they provide them all these different tools and resources and information. So the steps for this Connectate referral program is they go out, they conduct outreach, right? And they meet the community where they're at. They invite them to participate in the Connectate program. And if the community members are interested, they conduct the initial program assessment. They get their information, they take it down, and then later on they give them a call or an email or text message to see whatever works best for that one individual, and then they conduct the initial program assessment. During that assessment, the participants share their needs and referrals are provided. At a month after the initial assessment, CHWs follow up with the participant and ask if the resources met their needs. And then a month later, they do a final follow-up call and it's a closure of the program. Now, if there's an individual that says, hey, wait a minute, you know, I've gotten these referrals and they really helped me. However, the 3 months is up and I'm interested in something else, they will continue to work with that individual. And the top resources referrals that are provided are mental health, food resources, emotional support, and transportation. A lot of our participants, they are over 50 years of age. However, we do have younger ones that come on board and join the program that are interested. But that's the participants are usually about 50 years of age and older. So here I just want to share some Connect success stories. I'll go ahead and let you guys all read those. We've had participants in the group and they share how these resources have helped them. We have one individual saying that she was a caregiver and that she was happy to be able to help the individual she was taking care of, but she also received some resources for herself. And then we had another individual that was enrolled in one of our programs, and in one of our DPP programs, as you all are aware, we have DPP is being delivered throughout Yuma County. So that's really wonderful that we're all able to get that program out there to our community. And he enrolled in Connect, and he also received a lot of the resources that were offered, such as he didn't know where to get his next meal from, but so he received warm meals at a local senior center. He wasn't sure that he could go to a senior center, right? And another great thing was that he was able to make friends there. So that is all I have to share today, but I really just want to stress the importance of CHWs. And as you all are aware, we're all doing a lot of different things. And we're all working together. So through our CHW coalition, a lot of the organizations here within Yuma, we're partnering and collectively we're collaborating, we're making that difference throughout Yuma County. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Just a small little reminder that at the end of the program is a QR code. And if you would just take a few minutes to fill out the workshop survey at the end of the presentation today, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Up next, we have our, I'd like to welcome back up to the stage our working groups reports and the facilitators. The first group that will go is the Research Agenda Group and Community Outreach Group with facilitators Dr. Robert Trotter and Ms. Amanda Aguirre. Laura, welcome to the stage. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Good evening. Good afternoon right now, right? Sorry. How's everybody doing? You guys all still alert after lunch? Awesome. All right. So I'm going to try my best to recap all of the wonderful things that we talked about. There were so many issues that were brought up. And so just to bring everybody back to the focus, bring it down lower. Got it. Okay. The question was, how is economy impacting our key sectors of our community, right? And so the different sectors that were brought up were ultimately healthcare, education, workforce, and social services. So we, again, had multiple issues to talk about. A lot of our narrative was really surrounding pre and post-COVID, right? And so a lot of the issues that were brought up had to do with the simultaneous pros and cons of COVID. And so the things that we discussed were those intergenerational disparities, the lack of access for elderly population, all the way down to children and the development of the child. Some of the impacts that we saw on the economy also impacted the way that we are delivering our services. So from social services to education to healthcare, a lot of things have gone virtual or remote. And so that has caused either the workforce to not want to return to the office, or it has also forced maybe educators to choose different careers to then be able to afford living in this economy, right? So some other things that we discussed, obviously food access has been something that has been pretty big problem, and having affordability and access to food. We all know that food is increased, the price is increasing of food, and access to food is something that we see as an issue that's affecting our education system. We know that a lot of our students depend on those free meals at school. And so we see that during the summer months, even though we do have an increase of funding for the month of June and July, we don't see that same assistance. And so we see that food access is something that we would like to see, more assistance in. And we also talked about the that, because of us being remote and being virtual, we, even though we are expanding services to multiple people, we're also losing a lot of the, the connection that we used to have with our healthcare services, with, having telemed. Again, it's a great thing, but also maybe some of our older populations don't necessarily know how to navigate systems like that. And so, that need for the hand holding, or, that term was used, and that, we have to be culturally sensitive, and we have to, like you all mentioned up here, the promotoras going to where they are is really critical in this type of situation. And so again, our economy has really also priced out our elderly population out of homes. And so we're seeing a lot of homeless elderly folks. And what else is there? There's probably so much more that I'm forgetting. There was about 20 pages that I had to kind of narrow down into a few points. But, we do see housing being an issue, food access, mental health was something that was discussed quite a bit. And so I think if anybody else has anything to add, that's all I'm going to go with now. Anybody else in our group want to add on? Good. All right. Well, thank you so much.
And next, can we please have the presenters from the binational work group? Ms. Kathy Navarro, and thank you. Welcome, Kathy.
Oh, thank you again for waiting for me. Well, I'm Kathy Navarro. I am the International Public Relations Specialist for the Regional Center for Border Health. For those that didn't have the chance to meet me, we discussed a lot of issues, but one of the most important that we identified was the access to technology, but not only the access, but the appropriate use to technology. And, before COVID, we were reaching out families and the community to educate and raise awareness about our work and all the health issues and health needs. But after COVID, we had this moment of not in-person communications. So we wanted to suggest that we should do a program to not only educate people that doesn't have the access to health equity, not only in the use of the technology, but as I said, the appropriate use of technology, such as programs as Zoom and Google Meets, which also we will use to communicate with all those that we didn't have the chance to do it in person during the COVID process. So I guess this will be our proposal ideas. We talk about the collaboration we have between the universities in Mexicali, Baja California, and the MOU, or the agreement that we had with among or between the Regional Center for Border Health and the 16 de Septiembre University. We were talking about the possibility to reach out more the border community to invite them to take advantage of this MOU. And that will be pretty much is. I don't know if you more of the members or other members have any other to, any other idea to share. But yeah, thank you.
And then next, can we please have the presenter for the workforce group? Dr. Sabbath and Miss Linda Elliott Nelson.
Okay, I just want to say we probably had the best group. It's very dynamic. And I think our participants, we had the same question as every other group. I think the participants offered some really interesting and helpful insights into how the economy is impacted on the areas where our participants operate or function. They also had a number of suggestions in terms of initiatives that they either had in place now or were working on or thought might be worth looking at going forward to try and ameliorate some of the impact of the deleterious impact the economy's had on the different areas, particularly with respect to health disparities. But in any case, I wanted to come up here just to thank Dr. Linda Elliott Nelson, our recorder, because she did a masterful job of summarizing the results of our work group. And just wanted to thank you. And I'll turn it over to her now. Thanks.
We have a group statement that encapsulates our discussion. The economy has significant impact on key sectors in this region. In particular, the economy has impacted higher education. It is difficult to convince students to continue on to a bachelor's degree due to the plethora of jobs readily available in the area. There is a tendency for students to go directly into the workforce after completing their associate's degree. This stop out affects the pathway towards achieving a four-year degree. Health, wellness, and dietetics are areas of focus for the University of Arizona in pathways from high school through the community college and towards a four-year degree. STEADY has focused on showing students the pathway towards the workforce and higher education. Sharing resources is key towards helping students envision their own pathway and what they can achieve. It can be difficult for students to navigate higher education. Collaboration between agencies and institutions is crucial to help students grow and succeed. There are enthusiastic students who want to achieve, and it is important for them to feel a sense of belonging while they think of what careers they want to follow. It is difficult for higher education to compete with the current wages paid by the fast food industry. Due to the lack of candidates with necessary degrees, one agency changed their requirements on the minimal requirements of who they hired. There are other businesses removing the need for certain degrees for particular positions, since candidates may not have degrees, but may have the necessary experience. The pandemic has also allowed for people working from home, but this schedule can lead to exhaustion since work never stops. Mental health issues have increased due to isolation, due to the pandemic, and exhaustion. We have to be nimble and agile to move forward since everything is accelerating and the workforce is changing. There are closures around the state due to circumstances. There are many opportunities for work, but there may not be people who want to choose those work positions. Life skills need to be incorporated into learning. Changing values have impacted the workforce and work environment. It is now a different world. The cost of living is a barrier towards those wanting to earn degrees. More assistance with tuition and costs, plus more remediation, is highly needed. More students are approaching higher education without the needed knowledge. Community college students are also entering the college needing tutoring and other support to enable them to succeed academically. People left the workforce in high numbers during the pandemic, and that has affected many organizations. There are ways to lure students back to higher education by utilizing creative ways to create various credentials that are attainable. While Arizona Western College maintained a positive enrollment, that has not been the case for many community colleges. There is a workforce shortage of counselors and psychiatrists.
Students tend to want to earn a high level of income right away. The cost of living is currently very expensive. By bringing in interns, organizations can create an environment where people will want to stay and work. Yuma County takes pride in growing their own employees, but after a short period of time, there are still employees who will leave Yuma County for areas that pay a higher wage. Small agencies have been greatly impacted by the pandemic. Families cannot afford health benefits. Small agencies lose employees to larger organizations who can pay a higher wage. When staff leave, clients have issues with adapting to frequent changes of relationships. Competing with other areas that pay a higher wage is a continuing challenge. There are additional costs involved with training new employees. Clients may not want to meet virtually, and other necessary information may not be observed appropriately over a computer screen. High involvement of the college with high school and middle schools has helped keep students involved in their pathway from public to higher education. The pathway needs to remain open and welcoming to students. While students are achieving certifications at an earlier age, they may lose incentive to continuing on that pathway towards a degree. Ensuring that pathways exist is crucial. Lifelong learning is essential. To overcome the barriers towards workforce development, it is crucial to look at the Yuma County community and see what jobs are needed and available, then share this important information with students so that they may know more about our region. This could be done through traveling with students to see different jobs and through job shadowing. The University of Arizona in Yuma has been doing this for some time. Counselors in the public schools need to receive information on what careers and training exists in Yuma County so that students can have more exposure to what careers and education exists locally. While many families are concerned about where their next meal is coming from, the family may not focus on other areas for future jobs. Information on ways to prepare students for the future may not be shared at the counselor level in public schools. For many students, high school is the end of the road. Wraparound services need to be looked at to support students and their families. Issues may be as basic as having enough gas to go to school. Community health workers are boots on the ground, a great resource, and their roles could be expanded to help people realize what resources are available. Promotoras are trained to be a support for parents and educators and are trained in confidentiality. However, there exist barriers within some organizations that create obstacles for how resources can be provided. There has been a direction of more agencies utilizing promotoras now versus before the pandemic. Federal funds have enabled some community health workers to be available to students in some schools. There are clinical requirements with unpaid hours that make it very difficult for students to finish requirements for a license or degree without working to support their families. One idea is to partner with businesses to provide incentives for students to finish their degree. Students also need to achieve success to feel that they can reach their dreams. Programs like the Arizona Teachers Academy provide requirements for participants to remain in the state to work. We have to be agile to look at higher education equivalents to find ways to quantify individual life experiences and how these translate to higher education credits. Validating life assessment can help streamline pathways for students. Bilingual capability could also enhance employability in Yuma County since it is an important skill in this border area. Recruiting from Mexico is a possible opportunity to fill highly needed jobs in the workforce in Yuma County. Northern Arizona University has hired faculty from Mexico and other countries. Students have benefited by attending classes with faculty who are familiar with both the United States and Mexico and can help prepare them for being a professional in this border region. NAU also created a post-baccalaureate program to assist degree holders from Mexico that helps license these individuals to work in the United States as teacher, given the high demand for qualified teachers in this area. Partnering is a key to help Yuma County move forward in many sectors. This would avoid duplicating facilities or resources that could be more fully occupied. Students learning from various agencies sharing what careers are available can have incentives to stay and contribute to our region as professionals. We have so many assets in Yuma County that make us strong. We work collaboratively. There is a strong family structure where people want to stay and work close to their families. There are jobs available. We can use these assets to work together to help our region succeed.
Thank you. And as we are really ahead of schedule, I just really want to remind everybody to please take a few minutes to fill out the survey with the QR code at the end of the program if you haven't already done so. And also take another opportunity to thank the planning committee that helped make this day happen. Yes, thank you. All of the planning committee are listed at the end of the agenda. And I'd also like to take one more opportunity to thank our sponsors, the Arizona Department of Health Services, Northern Arizona University, and the Regional Center for Border Health. Thank you.